Oh, this is gonna be crazy. Whoa, whoa, that was great. Alright, hello everyone and welcome to another episode of SpraynPray1000's Verdict. I am SpraynPray1000, and today on episode 43 we are going to be talking about a new game that came out recently, Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm Revolutions. Now, let me preface this review like I prefaced the Storm 3 review. If you do not like Naruto, you will probably not like this game. Unless there's some aspect of the combat and the gameplay that you like, you will probably not like this game, especially if you are not a fan, or if you have not read the manga or watched the anime, or just generally been involved with Naruto, you will probably not like this game. So I'm just going to throw that out there right now. This is for the anime fans, as anime games typically are. And now I know that, a lot of people who are watching this probably are anime fans. They just want to see how I review this game. I'm just going to let you know that if you're not a Naruto fan, then there's no point in you even expressing interest in this game, because you're probably not going to like it unless you like the gameplay. Now, getting into the actual review, Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm Revolutions is basically similar to Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm Generations, in that it's the in-between game. Typically what they do with these Storm games is that they expand the story on the numbered ones, and then the ones that are kind of like the in-betweeners are just there more as filler, sort of pushing the story, but at the same time not really. And frankly, I lost my train of thought like usual. Frankly, the Revolutions falls under that category of almost a filler sort of game. Now, this game has 4 different modes. You have your typical free battle mode, which basically every fighting game has, where 2 characters duke it out, or 2 players, 2 computers, whatever combination you want. You can set presets and everything like you could in the other games. The game also has online mode, which is a little bit expanded, and I do like it a little bit better than Storm 3's, although Storm 3 had its own perks here or there. The game also has something called Ninja Escapades, which are basically various short stories that have had special animation work done for them. And that is really cool in my opinion, because I really do like the studio that does Naruto. I really, I do like the anime. I do like the way it's animated and all the things that they do in it. And it was really cool that, like Generations, they did add, I think it was something like 50 plus minutes of specially made cutscenes, and it was really cool watching them and playing the fights involved with them. And the game also has a mode called the Ninja World Tournament, which is essentially a non-canon, sort of thing that's happening in this universe. Basically, the Ninja World Tournament is being held by all the 5 different great ninja villages to determine who is the strongest ninja of them all. And you picking a character, getting directly involved with it, and really it kind of reminded me of, and you're not gonna believe this. I mean, I said it kind of feels like Mario Party at a few different points in a few different videos, but it really kind of reminds me of like Mario Superstar Baseball's campaign, where you basically, I know, right? What a crazy fucking God, what a crazy comparison, right? But it really does, because you basically pick a character, you have a set team behind you, and to get other people, you have to do challenges, or in this game, sub-stories in order to recruit them. And, you can recruit them, you can use them in this tournament, which actually isn't the typical gameplay. It's more the 4-man, it's a 4-man free-for-all, where you pick your target, you try to collect as many battle orbs as you can, and that basically determines the winner. Frankly, it's interesting, but it's nothing like sustainable. It feels like a party mode. It feels like something you have in a game that's not the main meat of the game, that you use, just as something like, okay, you want to dick around in it, or okay, it's it's a side sort of thing, to take your mind off it, or to diversify what the game is about. This game puts that as its main thing. Yeah, so I mean it's fun and all, but after a little bit, after doing a tournament or two, I was kind of bored. Like I felt that really I was just bored with it, and it didn't interest me. And the ninja escapades are cool, but you could beat them in one sitting. There's only three of them. There's about 7 or 8 fights between them, none of which are in the third one. The third ninja escapade is like a 2 to 3 minute cutscene, and that's it. And the saddest part is, this game does not push the story anywhere from Storm 3. Storm 3 ended on a non-canon ending. This game did not take the time to correct it and do anything. And it sucks because the final chapter could have easily been about that. It could have easily been the one that, okay, you have 2 chapters that are just kind of out there. They're cool side stories from the past. No, chapter 3 is the one that pushes the story forward, That doesn't exist in this game. So, I mean, this game is kind of lacking in that regard, I feel. The fact that there's not a really driven campaign like Storm 3. Let me tell you, Storm 3 had one of the best campaigns I've ever played in a Naruto game. And I mean, yeah, it was linear as hell, but it was fun, it was entertaining, and it really felt like a very cinematic experience, which is really what I liked about it. I really felt, as just seeing the anime, come to life in this 3D game, it was really cool experiencing it and, seeing all this stuff, and I was really upset when they did not push it at all in this game, and that's disappointing in my opinion. So the main point of this game then is just the multiplayer, because you have these things that you can beat in one day, which are very good, very high quality, excellent. I love them a lot. New costumes for a bunch of different characters, which is cool, and whatnot. And the problem with that is, it's paralleled with this absolutely kind of silly mode called the Ninja World Tournament, and on top of that, you also have this thing called the Story of Mecha Naruto, which literally is filler on top of filler, which it's boring. I don't know what to tell you. It is pretty boring, and I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you about that shit. That, it seemed just so weird, and I don't know what Kishimoto was thinking with that, because all these characters were designed by Kishimoto. He had such a big hand in this game, so I don't know what the Story of Mecha Naruto was supposed to accomplish, and it's a little disappointing. Frankly, I was expecting a lot more. Now, the core basic gameplay of this game is basically ripped from Storm 3, which is ripped off the other one. I mean, it's not ripped, but it's essentially the same. There are a couple of different things they've added. First of all, you can no longer do both an ultimate jutsu and an awakening on a character. Those have been changed. Now when you pick your team, you also pick what kind of team they are. So for example, you can pick to be an ultimate jutsu type team, which means that you specialize in your ultimate jutsu, but use of your awakening is locked. You could also pick to be an awakening type, which locks your ultimate jutsu but allows you to awaken and then experience true awakening, which is basically a state where you can do major damage to your opponent, which is cool. There's also a third one called support, which is basically more of a utility kind of one. It locks your ultimate and awakening, but allows you to do stuff like seal support, seal jutsu, etc., etc. And it's really cool. Also, they've changed some of the characters around. They still don't have universal stuff like universal mid-air jutsu. However, some of the characters really did get buffs. A lot of them really didn't, which is kind of to be expected, which kind of sucks because a lot of characters are still blatantly not that good. And because of the change to this ultimate jutsu type thing and the awakening type thing, you no longer pick what type of support you have. Your support is support no matter what. And they won't come in automatically to help you with ground combos. They won't come in to do that unless you pick the third option, the utility one that I just mentioned, in which case they will automatically do all 3 different types of support. And I mean, really, that's it. I'm being dead serious. I mean, there's a couple of different characters in here because they are up to the latest chapter, or not the latest chapter, but the latest anime episode or something. I don't even know what anime episode that is, because they didn't push the story. They didn't have a story-driven campaign where I could definitively tell you, yeah, this happens in chapter whatever of the manga or episode whatever of the anime. I couldn't tell you that because they didn't have that. So, okay, I mean, what really is there to this game, frankly? You have the Ninja World Tournament, which is, repetitive kind of stuff along those lines. You have the Mecha Naruto story, which is literally the worst filler I've ever seen in my life. The Ninja Escapades are cool, but once you they're only like maybe I think what was it like an hour and a half, 2 hours long, total. I mean, yeah, they're fun and everything, but once you've played them, that's kind of it. You've kind of done everything. And I mean, online is probably the most worthwhile part of it. You could probably just go watch the anime scenes. That's nothing major. So really, is it worth $60? Absolutely not. I think that this game, I mean, yeah, I could understand why it couldn't be a DLC ever, but it's not worth 60. There's not enough in here that I could really say this is worth 60. So I frankly advise you against it. And I mean, I'm a big Naruto fan. Hell, I have a wristband from ages ago. I'm talking like 2007 that I bought from some guy I knew for $5, and I've been wearing it for 7, 8 years at this point. And I'm a big Naruto fan. I would not wear a peripheral on a daily basis on my arm every time I go outside that's about Naruto if I didn't like Naruto. So I'm disappointed with this game because I felt that they could have done a lot more. They could have done a lot more interesting stuff, and for $60 is kind of a disappointment. I was very disappointed with this game. Now, does that mean I'm not going to play it all the time with my friends and whatnot? Of course not. I'm going to enjoy it because again, the multiplayer is fun. We all do have a lot of fun playing it. There are a lot of laughs to be had, a lot of crazy stuff happening. Characters glitching out, doing weird stuff, doing unpredictable things. But ultimately, I mean, what do you want me to say about this game? I mean, they didn't really do too much with it when they could have. So, unfortunately, the game is going to suffer in that regard. Now, at its core, the game is still fine. It's just that this game really doesn't do too much. And I was very disappointed because the game basically could have been... They could have dropped the anime stuff, had that as a little DLC or something for Storm 3. Updated Storm 3 with a couple characters and called it a day, because frankly a lot of the other stuff is very boring and I don't know how many people are going to touch it other than to just unlock all the characters. So ultimately, what would I give Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm Revolution? I'm just going to have to give it a 74. I mean, it wasn't that good in my opinion, whereas Storm 3 had a really good campaign and good multiplayer. I gave that an 83, I believe. This game I gotta score way less because there's not that much to do with it. It's the same basic game, a couple different changes, and no story mode really. So unfortunately that's gonna be at a 74, and I was disappointed to say the very least. So this game I had high hopes for. The week of buying it, I said I wasn't going to buy it. I wasn't going to buy it, and then I decided I would buy it because I was interested. And I am a big Naruto fan, but ultimately they kind of cut too many quarters with this one. I feel they could have done a much better job. CyberConnect 2 does a really good job with the visuals and a really good job with the presentation, but just this time around there wasn't enough, man. So I'm disappointed because Generations, on the flip side, did push the story. It did have a different kind of storytelling. It had multiple stories, but it did continue the story, and it did have a campaign, and it did have a lot of that other stuff. Now, would I rate it on the same level as Storm 3? Probably not, because the game was a little bit less quality than Storm 3. But at least I could say, that this game had, or Generations had a good, it had a couple of different stories. It had the original story. It had stories of various characters. The story of Naruto from Shippuden, story of Part 1 Naruto, the story of Sasuke, the story of Jiraiya, all these various people. At least I could say that, I can't say that about this game. And that's disappointing. At least I could say, okay, at least they kind of very quickly recapped the entire series, right? Can't say that. So unfortunately, this game gets a 74. Disappointment by Bandai Namco and CyberConnect 2. Hopefully they tidy up their act. Hopefully they fix this up for the next one, which I have a feeling they will. They will. There's definitely gonna Storm 4 is probably gonna be on the next gen consoles. Look great, run great. Not have the same generic problems that this game had. Hinata's assist still slows the game. Like, really? And, one thing that they did change is the knockout returns. It's a bit easier to knock people out, but they don't die instantly. It just does a lot of damage to them, and they get thrown back in the ring. Alright, well, that's going to be it for this verdict. There wasn't really much to say, because literally that's how little there is in the game. It's the same gameplay as Storm 3, arena-type fighter. And really all that's changed are a couple of different characters, some costumes. The game feels like a very big DLC, but not big enough for a full retail game. So, disappointing, Namco Bandai. I really am disappointed in you guys. Alright, so that's going to be it for the verdict on Storm. I hope this is informative to you guys. I will see you next time for probably Hyrule Warriors' verdict. And have a good day.